Okay, guess who's excited? I am. Last video of evolution. Okay, so let's go back and revisit homologous versus analogous structures. So we want to look at homologous structures as the same structure, different functions. Remember, looking at these structures here, we can see the same bone structure, the same setup, but they perform different functions. The homologous structures are the ones that we can look at, and those will indicate a common ancestry because of the similarity in these structures. All right? So when we look at homologous structures, we look at one of the supporting evidences for common ancestry is looking at the fact that these embryos, of course, all look the same when they start off, or not exactly the same, but they look very similar. And so we have structures. So these embryos look the same. Now, of course, that could mean many different things, but as far as looking at common ancestry, they certainly, it's starting off from a similar similar appearance. And then another supporting evidence is this molecular homologies. So we look at these amino acids, the number of amino acids, and the difference here. So we're looking at, what is the connection here with the similarities here between all of these different organisms. And we look at the number of amino acids that differ from a human hemoglobin polypeptide. So obviously here's human, but then we look at the different organisms and how much they differ from the human. Okay, so analogous does not indicate common ancestry, just the similar function. Analogous is not same structure, it's same function. And so you can, again, we can look at this. Here's the wing of a bird and the different bones that make that up, and then an insect wing. They're both used for flight, but so they're not going to indicate common ancestry. There's just similar functions, not flunctions. It could be, I guess. That's a new word. I just made it up. All right. Now, convergent evolution, convergent means, you're converging. So we can look at a sugar glider here in Australia and a flying squirrel in North America. They have similar environments and a similar appearance. So they have these similarities here based on their biogeographical location. All right, now these we're going to do some work with, and we're actually going to construct these in class. But this right here is called a cladogram. Some people call it a cladogram. Either one's correct. Whichever one you want to say, it's fine. They're also called a phylogenetic tree. Now, this cladogram is an either-or evolutionary tree, and they're based on shared characteristics. And so when you look at the characters here, you look at these characteristics, and you can see we come up with the different characters, the different characteristics here, and you can see, like, the lancelet does not have a vertebrae, but the lamprey, tuna, salamander, turtle, and leopard, they all have it. So a 1 is, if it's in what's called the in group, it gets a 1. That means, does it have a common structure? So all of those would have a common structure. The zeros indicate that they're not part of the group. They're an outcast, or they're in the out group. I don't like that word outcast. Can you just imagine? It just sounds bad, like it's not part of the group. Whatever. I mean, it's not based on the characteristics. It's not certainly a social issue. All right, so each of these branches here is called a clade, and the common ancestry occurs at the Y. So here we would look at lampreys and lancelets having a common ancestor, but when you look at the actual clade, this is where you're looking at where the differences come in. And so this right here, this trait, this vertebral column, like we set up here, the lancelet doesn't have the vertebral column. It doesn't come up until here. But then all of these above it would have that vertebral column. all of these, all the organisms above, so the tuna, salamander, turtle, and leopard would have the hinged jaws. And so when you look at these, you can see the common ancestry, but then you can see the common characteristics that they all share. So a shared primitive character is a trait that's common to many of the taxons or the clades. So again, we're looking at all of these are the shared characters. The shared derived characters are the one that's common to one clade only. So hair is only going to be common to leopards. The amniotic egg is for the turtle, but then you also have these are going to be shared primitive characters, but then that particular character, the shared derived character, is only for that one clade. All right, like I said, we're going to go ahead and practice these and figure out how to put these together in class. Have a great night.